Okay, so today we are diving deep into just one single event, but it's a moment, really, of profound social crisis, all happening during what started as a simple celebration back in the first century.
Right.
So try and picture the scene. We're in the village of Cana. It's in Galilee. The air's buzzing. Right. It's actually the third day of the wedding for Asher. He's the local cloth merchant, and his bride, Shira.
3 days in, that's already a serious party.
Exactly. The music, the kinner and tuff, like a lyre and drum, it's still going strong, but maybe the laughter's got a slightly desperate edge by now. We want to go underneath all that noise, though, and really focus on the people serving the food and drink, because for them, this party is about to become, well, a complete generational catastrophe. Okay, let's unpack that.
Yeah, that's the mission here. We're trying to understand this whole event, not just as, some historical anecdote, but really as a collision of these deeply ingrained cultural rules. And we're looking at the sources, specifically trying to see it through the eyes of the servers. There's this one distant cousin, Eliel. He's our focus. We want to explore how that huge societal weight of honor and shame, particularly in ancient Galilee, turned what seems like a simple planning mistake.
Running out of wine.
Exactly. Turn that into total ruin. And maybe more importantly, we're going to dig into why the solution that emerges isn't just adequate. It's actually, well, miraculously superior.
And this viewpoint character, Eliel, he's right in the thick of it. He's serving, he's pouring. He's the one basically responsible for keeping the whole vibe going, keeping those cups full.
Yeah.
And he knows the rules. He knows the expectations set by Levi, the master of the feast. This guy's whole reputation is basically riding on this party, going off without a hitch.
And that's really key here, understanding the pressure. Because in that time, in that place, a wedding wasn't just a party. It was the ultimate display of family honor, of stability, even economic standing. It was a huge investment. We actually have sources quoting Levi directly on this. He apparently said, a wedding is measured by two things, the beauty of the bride and the abundance of the wine.
Wow, that blunt.
Pretty much. The wine wasn't just, something to drink. It was a symbol of blessing, of prosperity, and crucially, of the groom's respect for every single guest there. If the wine failed.
The family failed.
Publicly.
Exactly. Which brings us right to Eliel's terrible, stomach-dropping realization on that third evening. The party's still going, people are still celebrating, but he knows the supply is vanishing way too fast.
Right.
So he slips away, probably trying not to cause alarm, heads to the cool cellar to grab more. He goes for the reserved wineskins, the good stuff held back.
Yeah.
Instead of that satisfying slosh he hears, and the sources describe it vividly, a hollow, leathery thud.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So then, panic rising, he checks the big earthenware storage jars, the amphorae.
Please tell me there's something there.
Bone dry, just maybe a muddy trickle of dregs at the bottom, not a single usable drop of wine left. Okay, so this is it. The point of no return.
This is the moment the celebration just curdles. It turns into public disgrace.
Yep.
And we really have to get our heads around what this meant culturally in terms of that social contract.
It's not like, oh, well, let's get some beer instead.
Not even close. Running dry wasn't just poor planning. It shouted poverty, maybe. Or worse, a lack of blessing, a lack of favor. It was seen as a profound insult to every single guest.
And the shame wasn't just for the night.
Oh, no. It stuck. That couple, Asher and Shira, they'd be known, maybe for a generation, as the wedding that ran dry. It was a permanent stain on the family's honor.
So the reaction of the guy in charge, Levi.
It confirms everything. Eliel, probably terrified, finds Levi and just blurts out the news.
Right.
The sources paint a picture of Levi's reaction. It's not just anger. It's described as this, visceral horror.
He knows what this means.
Instantly, he apparently turns pale, then just explodes. But it's not just rage, it's like panic-fueled rage. He actually throws a clay serving vessel, smashes it against the courtyard wall.
Wow, just loses it.
Completely. And he's whispering, "We are ruined." Now let's pause on that phrase, "we are ruined." Is he financially ruined?
Well, the cost falls on Asher's family, right? The groom's family.
Primarily, yes. But Levi, his reputation is tied completely to this. His professional honor, his whole identity as someone who can manage a successful, honorable feast that's destroyed in this moment. So the ruin is social, it's professional, it's an immediate, absolute disaster for him too. The shame is contagious.
Okay, so the party's basically seconds from grinding to a halt, utter disaster.
Yeah.
And then, in the middle of this absolute frozen panic, someone else steps in. A guest.
Yes, Mary, Jesus' mother, she's been observing clearly. She sees Eliel's desperation. She sees Levi basically collapsing in on himself.
And her reaction is different.
Strikingly different. Eliel, who's just completely falling apart, rushes over to her, confirms the nightmare. Mistress, we have no wine. The feast is disgraced.
Okay, and here's where this deep dive gets really interesting. Her response.
Exactly. She doesn't gasp. She doesn't look shocked. The sources describe her as looking, not surprised, but as if she had been expecting something.
Expecting something.
Like what? It's not clear what exactly, but it suggests this. Awareness. Something that goes beyond the immediate panic of the situation. She then goes directly to her son, to Jesus.
And tells him the problem.
She does. And this is where we get a really interesting, subtle tension in the source material. Because when Mary tells Jesus they have no wine, his initial reaction is an immediate action. No. He meets her request, apparently, with this look of male. It's described as profound weariness. And he even seems to refuse. Initially, he says quite clearly, my time has not yet come.
That sounds significant. Like he knows what she's asking is bigger than just fixing a party blunder.
It really does. It feels like an acknowledgement of the gravity, maybe, of what she's asking him to sort of initiate.
Right, but Mary,
yeah,
she doesn't argue.
Doesn't debate him at all. Her response is incredibly brief, but it conveys this simple, unshakable trust. It's all about her demeanor, her confidence in him.
And that changes things.
It seems to. Jesus looks at her, really looks at her, and according to the sources, that weariness just dissolves. It's replaced by this immediate resolve. It's a powerful moment, isn't it? That quiet, authoritative conviction passing between them.
Yeah, and then what?
Then that confidence immediately translates into action, but directed at the servants. Mary goes back to Eliel and the rest of the demoralized staff, including Levi, who's probably still hiding somewhere in shame.
Right.
She completely bypasses the whole social disaster aspect, the shame, all of it. And she gives them this one crucial, very focused instruction. She just says, do whatever he tells you.
Just like that.
Just like that. And it's clear this isn't a suggestion. It's delivered like a command with the full weight of her expectation behind it. She's basically outsourced their obedience directly to her son.
Okay, so now the servants, led by Eliel, who must be desperate for any solution, they're poised, ready to obey Jesus. And he tells them to do something that, well, in the face of a wine crisis, it must have seemed completely irrelevant, maybe even absurd.
Absolutely. He points away from the empty wine cellar towards the courtyard wall where these 6 enormous stone water jars are standing.
6 of them.
6. And the context of those jars is absolutely essential here. You need to understand, these were not your everyday drinking water containers. Not at all.
What were they for then?
They were carved from limestone, specifically reserved for the rigorous Jewish rites of purification.
Purification, like religious cleansing.
Exactly. Washing hands and feet before meals, dealing with anything considered ritually unclean or defiled. They were symbols of religious obligation, of the purity laws,
Right.
And they were huge, holding 20 to 30 gallons each. Sources say they stood as tall as a man's chest.
Okay, wait. So he tells them to fill those jars, the purification jars.
Oh, well, they're regular well water. 6 massive vessels designed for religious cleansing, not celebration. And he tells them to fill them right to the brim.
That's a lot of water. And a lot of work.
Think about the sheer labor involved. Eliel and the other servants, they're already physically exhausted from 3 days of partying, emotionally drained from the crisis, and now they have to grab buckets.
And haul water.
For probably a solid 20 minutes, maybe more, back and forth from the deep village well, filling these jars 1 bucket at a time, right up to the very top. We're talking a staggering total, probably around 150 gallons of water.
Wow.
It must have been absolutely backbreaking work, and you have to imagine it must have felt utterly, completely pointless.
Yeah, like how is this possibly going to help? We need wine, not well water.
Exactly. They are literally pouring their panic, their shame, their confusion into these giant stone vessels that are meant only for ritual cleansing. They've been tasked with solving a crisis of honor and celebration.
By doing this meaningless task involving labor and purification.
It's the ultimate contrast, isn't it? Just bizarre.
Okay, so let's zero in on Eliel again. The jars are finally full. The labor's done. What happens next?
Jesus just tells them, simply, now draw some out and take it to the master of the feast.
To Levi.
To Levi. The guy who was just throwing pottery in despair. Eliel must have been dreading this, thinking he's about to deliver the final insult, a cup of water, to a feast demanding wine.
He must have been. But this is where his perspective becomes unique. How did he actually perceive the transformation? in real time.
Yeah, what did he see?
Well, he's the one who does it. He lowers the pitcher into the jar, into the clear well water he just hauled, but when he lifts that pitcher out, it's not clear anymore.
It's wine.
It's described as a deep, shimmering ruby red, and instantly that smell hits him, that initial, almost metallic tang of well water. Gone, replaced by this incredible, complex aroma.
Do the sources really describe the smell? That seems like a very specific detail, like it speaks to the quality.
Oh, absolutely. Here's where it gets really interesting. The description is amazing. It talks about the scent of sun-drenched grapes, of old oak, of honey and spice. Wow, that sounds expensive. Not like typical wedding wine.
Exactly. It suggests a complexity, a depth that would have far exceeded not only what they ran out of, but probably any wine typically served at a village wedding, especially on day 3 when quality usually drops off.
So this wasn't just replacement wine. This was an upgrade. A serious upgrade.
A massive upgrade. This wasn't merely wine. The sources imply it was the finest, most aromatic vintage Elil, or probably anyone there had ever encountered. And the servants' Elil, the others standing there drenched in sweat and well water, they were the only ones who knew where it came from.
Just silent, sharing this moment of awe as the impossible happened right in front of them.
Incredible. So Elil, probably numb, just walking like he's in a dream, he carries this pitcher of miraculous wine over to Levi.
Levi, who's still basically paralyzed by the impending disgrace, probably hiding in a corner somewhere.
Yeah.
He likely snatches the cup from Elil, maybe intending to just confirm the disaster, maybe even spit it out in disgust.
Yeah.
But then he tastes it.
His eyes fly wide open. He pauses, for what must have felt like an eternity to Elil, just absorbing the flavor, the quality.
A professional takes over.
Immediately. His training, his palate, it kicks right in. Levi completely forgets his shame, his panic. He storms off, not towards Elil, but towards Asher, the groom.
Who has no idea what's going on, presumably.
None whatsoever. Asher's probably just baffled by the sudden change in atmosphere, the renewed joy maybe starting to ripple through the courtyard. And Levi confronts him, but not with anger about running out anymore.
What does he say?
He points out the standard practice, the normal way things are done at every wedding feast. He lays out the social rule, the expected hospitality norm.
Right, the thing about serving the good stuff first.
Exactly. He emphasizes the almost deceptive nature of standard feasts. Every man serves the good wine first, he says. Then, when the guests have drunk freely, meaning when their palates are a bit dulled, he brings out the poorer wine. It is the way.
It's the accepted practice, right? Lower the quality when people won't notice as much. Save a bit of money.
Totally normal, expected even. And this is the symbolic punch of the whole story, the whole deep dive, really. The miracle doesn't just fix the problem by replacing the wine. It completely shatters the norm.
Because the best came last.
Precisely. Levi's declaration to Asher is this incredible reversal of the entire cultural standard. You, he exclaims, you have kept the good wine until now.
Wow, so the new wine doesn't just save the party, it elevates it.
Transforms it. The sources say it brought renewed clarity and warmth to the whole gathering. The crisis is completely resolved, and Asher's honor isn't just restored, it's unexpectedly lifted to this incredible new height. He's now the host who served the absolute best wine last.
So the significance here really isn't just, oh look, Jesus made wine. It's that the final amount, the final quality, was profoundly superior.
Yeah.
It didn't just meet the need. It surpassed the cultural norm, surpassed all expectations.
That's the core of it. It replaced that potential crushing generational shame with something transcendent, with superior quality and abundance. This really symbolizes, you could argue, a profound transformation. Maybe the beginning of a new era, marked not just by fixing things, but by this radical, superior abundance that overturns old ways. The entire crisis resolved not by finding some okay substitute, but by producing something miraculous and better.
And Jesus, where is he in all this?
Standing quietly in the shadows, apparently, letting the master of the feast make the declaration, letting the servants carry the secret knowledge. But the sources mention one small detail. He gives Elil, the servant who did the hard work, the obedient labor of filling those jars, just an almost imperceptible nod.
A quiet acknowledgement.
Yeah. A silent confirmation, maybe, that the crisis was over, the shame averted, and maybe that this new way had begun.
So we've journeyed from Asher and Shira facing this awful prospect of being forever known as the wedding that ran dry, to suddenly being celebrated across Galilee for hosting a feast that somehow, inexplicably, produced the finest wine anyone had ever tasted.
Quite the turnaround.
And the difference makers. Well, The unwavering faith of Mary, the quiet resolve of Jesus, and crucially, the humble, sweaty obedience of the servants like Eliel, who had that intimate, exhausting view from the inside, filling those great stone jars. So what does this all mean for you listening?
Well, we have to circle back to those stone jars one last time. Remember their purpose.
Purification, ritual cleansing, dealing with defilement.
Exactly. They represented the old system, the established rituals for dealing with imperfection, with uncleanness, with the dust of daily life. And the miracle transforms those very objects, the instruments of ritual cleansing, into the source of abundant celebration, of profound superior joy.
That's a fascinating point.
It really raises a provocative question for you to think about. When the very tools designed to purify and manage defilement become the source of radical transformation and unexpected superior abundance, what does that tell you? What does it suggest about the power of this event? And maybe about the nature of the change being introduced? Ritual versus radical transformation. Something to mull over.